QC in first break.
Perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Thursday. Welcome in. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. This is the Fan Upstate. Good morning, Upstate South Carolina. Good morning, America. Good morning, world. Great to be with you again. I am Rob Brown. Directly across from me on the other side of the glass, the gentleman that makes the magic. He is the alpha and the omega of the Fan Upstate. He is Colonel Grudge, hashtag Dad Kicks. He is the conductor of the Symphony of Sound. That is the Rob Brown Show. He is the Sultan of Swag, the Professor of Perfection, the Wizard of Wave, the great one, Lonzo at the helm. What's up, Zo?
I apparently have a short in my headphones.
Do you need me to yell louder?
Can you?
I think we both know the answer to that question.
Yeah, we do. We absolutely know the answer to that question.
I shall refrain for the moment because we got 3 hours of goodness coming your way. I can't just absolutely go bananas in segment numero uno. You know?
Yeah, that's never happened before.
We actually do have a lot going on today. Coming up in about half an hour, Rashad Beard is the host of the Panther Nation podcast. We're going to talk to him because, stop me if you've heard this one before, there is even more development in the Baker Mayfield story in Cleveland, because now not only are the Carolina Panthers in the mix to pick up the soon-to-be former Browns quarterback, but another challenger has emerged, ladies and gentlemen. There is another team that is not only willing to snag Baker, but apparently is willing to offer Baker a contract extension if he was to end up there. So it has gone from Carolina had an opportunity with what appeared to be the only angle on Baker to now they may have to come off the books a little bit more, because another team is interested if they ever decide to pull the trigger. We're going to talk about that, and we will get Rashad Beard's thoughts on that coming up at 9:30. Then at 11:20, Jake Keegan is a forward and attacking mid for the Greenville Triumph. The Triumph are back at home this Saturday. They have been on the road. They went and won a rivalry game, 2-0 victory over Union Omaha this past weekend. It has been a hot minute since the boys in green played at Legacy early, but they will this Saturday evening. And so we will get a chance to ask Jake Keegan what it's like to be back home. The Triumph started this year very slow. They now find themselves back hovering in and around the top of the USL League One table. We're going to talk about that with Jake Keegan. That'll be a great interview. Again, that's coming up at 11:20. You're going to be around for that as well. A lot of good stuff coming your way. We've also got coming up at 11 o'clock, because I had to get Jake at 11:20, Lonzo opening the 11 o'clock hour with Fight Club, because it's Thursday. And you know what that means. You're home for all things combat sports in the upstate. It's Fight Club with Lonzo. He will open the 11 o'clock hour with that. Jake Keegan checks in at 11:20 to talk football. Twitter trending topics to wrap up the third hour. That one is stocked, locked, and loaded. So if you want to get your thoughts in, if you want to get your phone calls on the air, and they are welcomed, you can do so right now at 844-FAN-PHONE, 844-FAN-FONE, 844-326-3663, 844-FAN-PHONE. You can also text us on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307, 307. Start your text with FAN. FAM, we'll read them on the air, including the first text of the day, which says, Lonzo for president.
Yeah, I couldn't take the pay cut.
It came out earlier this morning that Mad Dog, who shows up on First Take on the Stephen A. Smith show once a week, I think it's Wednesdays, he shows up. Lonzo, they give him $10,000 a show.
Good for him.
$10,000 a show to show up and shout at Stephen A. Smith for half an hour. My man makes more than my annual salary in a month to show up and go, blah, 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 blah.
If you like the guy, would you be okay with it?
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
Yeah, of course.
Just checking.
of course. I celebrate when my friends do well, and I hate when the bad guys do. I get tired of them lowering the level of discourse of sports talk radio. We, Lonzo, are nothing shy of sophisticated and elegant as boat on this show.
If he makes 10,000 appearance, how much does Stephen A. make an appearance?
Oh,
Technically?
Stephen A's getting, I'm going to guess 5 to 7 mil a year. Minimum. He's getting 5 to 7 mil a year.
Which would make him, I don't know, what, 50, 100,000 a show or
Yeah.
something? I don't know.
Now,
How
I
that
will
works.
say this. I got to give Stephen A. credit because he's not just doing it on a First Take, right? He's showing up at every NBA Finals game. He's showing up at Stanley Cup games, and he knows what he's talking about. You may not like his take,
but
he's
you're
educated on
saying
it.
showing up. He's being paid to show up, more
Sure.
than likely. Yeah.
Sure, but again, as dude who has never said no when you get told, hey, go here and get on the air, I can at least respect the hustle, you know? $10K a show for Mad Dog to show up and shout.
How did that come out? I mean, was that...
He just said it. Some reporter just asked him. Was like, hey, what do you get hooked up with to do First Take? You know, it's a weekly thing now. Here, I'll pull back the curtain just a bit. Ordinarily, when you have somebody that's got fame, I'm not talking about like, you know, podcast hosts or radio hosts like me who are nobodies, right? Up until not too long ago, I had a weekly spot on another station. And that was just something me and the host worked out. He called me. He's like, hey, man, I'd love to have you on as a Clemson/South Carolina contributor. You know, maybe once a week, maybe 2 times a month, whatever. I was like, yeah, that's fine. You know, helps me grow the brand. I get to say my Twitter handle on their show, on their network, right? But when you're trying to get somebody who is kind of a brand name, a household name, if you get them on once a week, you got to pay, right? I had an NFL agent once who tried to not fleece me, I guess hustle me a little bit. When I was broadcasting in Florida, I had a member of the Saints on, right? And she hooked him up. She was like, okay, we'll do Thursdays at, 8:45 a.m. or whatever time it was. It's like, we'll do Thursdays at 8:45. We did that for 3 weeks. And it became a segment for me. Coming up every Thursday. This Thursday, 8:45. Who was the player? It was one of the DBs for the Saints. I don't remember who it was. It wasn't Roman. It was one of the other DBs. Anyway, I got promos running for it. Coming up, we talked Saints football with New Orleans Saints defensive back, blah, 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 blah. He was like, it wasn't like a big name player, but he was a starter.
Yeah, obviously not a Hall of Famer since you can't remember his name.
No, it was like again, I don't remember who it was. It wasn't Tracy Porter, but it was, it was whatever. Anyway, it doesn't matter. 3 weeks, 8:45, coming up this Thursday, 8:45. The last week, I call her, and I'm like, all right. She goes, all right. We got you set up for Thursday at 8:45. From this point forward, all appearances will come at, it was like $300 a week. I'm like, yo, what now? She's like, yeah, $300 you can make the check out to. $300 to have him on for 10 minutes? Yeah, that's how this works. It's an appearance fee. I'm like, you fleeced me. I got it. You gave me a taste to get me high on the supply, and now you're trying to godfather me. I understand it. I get it. No worries. Anyway. Mad Dog, $10K to show up and yell at Stephen A. Smith. If you need me, I will be over here staring down the impending sense of existentialism I have about my own career. It's all good. It's all good.
That's an inward thing. It's not an outward thing.
Oh,
So
it's
you
100%
I
inward.
don't think you can stare inward.
Sure you can. Stare it into the abyss of my own mentality.
That's staring outward, though. It's not staring
You
inward.
physically stare outward. You metaphorically stare inward.
Okay.
You feel like facing your own demons. Like you're not facing actual demons. You're looking in at your own flaws and recognizing the fight you have to figure out how to get paid $10K a day to just yell into a microphone.
Just need to be at the right place at the right time. That's all it is.
Hey, Espen, I can yell at Stephen A. Smith too. A lot, actually.
They'll run out of people eventually.
It's biding my time.
There you go.
Biding my time, that's all.
And then you'll be able to charge more because they'll be desperate.
Yeah. All right. Let's go with this. Lots of little stories I want to get into, but I'm going to start with Dusty Baker. You guys know that I love an old man gets mad at old guy thing story. And for the record, I also love Dusty Baker, all right? I like Dusty Baker. I am a big fan.
I am surprised that he's still around. How old is he? Like 85 or something?
Dusty's knocking on the door.
And when I say still around, I don't mean dead. I mean still
coaching
around.
baseball.
Yeah.
He's only 73.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Say
He's one of
knocking on
those guys
75, 80, but he's 73.
that has looked old for a really long time.
Dusty Baker looked 50 when he was playing in Major League Baseball at 20. Dusty Baker gave his own player the heat. Houston Astros outfielder Jose Siri was playing the Mets on Tuesday night. And after Jose Siri, while his Stros were up 7-2 in the 8th inning against the Mets, Siri snapped an 0 for 10 slump with a solo shot that cleared the train tracks above left field at Minute Maid. That's a 450-ish foot snap is what that is. Well, Siri, as baseball players are wont to do, when they cream a baseball 450 feet over the train tracks at Minute Maid, he did what we all do, Zoe. And by we, I mean they, because I can't do that. He admired his work. He flipped the bat, and he watched that ball sail into another dimension. Because home runs are fun, y'all. Dingers are fun. Siri got a hold of one. He sent it into low Earth orbit, and he watched it go until the smoke dissipated off the back of it. Well, the Mets weren't happy. You know who else wasn't happy? Astros manager Dusty Baker, who said, quote, "He should have ran back in our day. The next guy would have gotten drilled." Well, Siri did not take too kindly about that.
Hold up just a second. So he actually said back in my day?
Uh-huh. He said, quote, "back in our day."
That's still an old man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's still, okay.
Back in our day, the next guy would have gotten drilled. Yeah, Pops, well, it's 2022, not 2022. Dusty, I blew that. That was a great line, and I blew it. That's all right. That's all right. Anyway, my favorite part is that after Dusty's rant of back in our day, Jose tweeted, "Bleep bad opinions. Have fun." Quote, end quote. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a new favorite Houston Astro. Scratch that. I have an only favorite Houston Astro, but I have a new favorite Houston Astro. And it's Jose Siri. His manager said he should have ran back in our day. The next day would have gotten drilled. And Siri said, "Bleep bad opinions. Have fun. Dude, that is my new catchphrase in life. In life. When I go out to participate in some shenanigans and somebody says, Rob, you shouldn't do that, I'm going to go bleep bad opinions. Have fun. I love this guy. Siri did walk it back. Asked by a media member about his tweet, he said through his interpreter, quote, I know I made an error there. I spoke to some of our guys, and yeah, I just made an error, end quote. He did not take interviews after Houston won again on Wednesday. Dusty said, that's kind of in the past. You can't help when people tweet. He's got to be careful when you press that button. That's what we were warned about in spring training. Just make sure that's what you want to say when you press the button. I haven't heard anything about it since then, end quote. Yeah, well, Dusty, bleep bad opinions, have fun. The new catchphrase of the Rob Brown Show. Amazing. Amazing. And people are up in arms. Oh, we insulted his manager. His manager just said that a guy on his own team deserved to get plunked because of it. Well, back in our day, the next guy would have gotten drilled. Yeah, well, it's 2022, not 2022. I did it again. It's 2022, not 2020. I'm going to take a break.
You said it's 2022, not 1922. I think.
No, I said it's 2022, not 2022.
No.
Like an idiot.
No. The first time you said
No,
it
I
right,
didn't.
and then you corrected
No, I
yourself
didn't.
even though you said it correctly.
Either way, that's why we don't win Crystal trophies around here, Lonzo. That's why we don't win them. Yeah, I am going to be self-loathing for a day or two.
Don't be that guy.
Oh, I'm going to be that guy.
Please don't be. You're better than that. We're better than that.
Oh, no, I'm bringing it on myself. I'm not playing games. I expect better of myself for the next year. That's all I'll say.
I'm glad the rest of the state finally caught up.
Yeah. I put it on me. I put it on me to do better. We will repeat at some point. It's just not going to be now. It's all right. 2023, we got a date in Columbia. I will accept nothing less. He is the great one, carrying around the dead weight that is me. We're back after this on the Rob Brown Show. Don't get mad, Lonzo. That's all, we're getting another one. The fire is lit. I feel like Mike Tyson. Somebody's getting knocked out. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. This is the Fan Upstate.
QC.
That's what I call it. Be right back, stream. Don't go anywhere. Rob Brown. Ah! That's why. That's why right there, Alonzo. That's why.
Not why, but okay, whatever.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate.
I'm starting to think Keegan may be right.
Yeah. I am. All right. I am struggling a bit today. All right. And I'll tell you why. It is because there is a full brain reset going on for me. And I'll tell you why. And before I start, before I say this, I want you guys to know, because I understand how it might sound, and it is not meant to be. This is not sour grapes. This is not complaining. This is not me pulling conspiracy theories. I'm going to be point blank honest with you, as I try to be all the time. We found out yesterday that this show will not be repeating as Sports Talk Radio Show of the Year in South Carolina. We were not named a finalist for that award for this year. Am I bummed out about it? You're damn right I am. Of course I am. Lonzo and I have made zero secret that our goal, and the only thing we will accept, is to be the best. That's it. The goal is to be the standard, and we know that it takes time, and we know that it's going to take upward effort every single day. We put it in. We want to be the best we can locally, regionally, statewide. And I'd be lying to you to tell you that I do not have a goal of one day having this show originate here and be nationally syndicated. You're damn right we do. And to get there, it takes being recognized. And to be recognized, it takes being good. It takes work, it takes grind, it takes effort, it takes talent. I think Lonzo and I both have those things. But we found out yesterday afternoon that we will not be repeating for South Carolina Sports Talk Radio Show of the Year. We were not named finalists for that award this year. And listen, again, not sour grapes, not calling conspiracy. As far as I'm concerned, I did not work hard enough or do a good enough show in the last year to get there. Lonzo put together a hell of a submission, as he always does. I heard it multiple times. It was great. But my voice in it wasn't good enough. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you what's happening right now. And it started yesterday about 3:35 p.m. when those finalist list came out. I am not pleased. I'm not happy. I'm not happy with me. Again, it's not anything to do with anybody outside of this building. It's me. Lonzo is the best in the game. That is not a moment where I'm blowing smoke. That is me telling you, as somebody who's done this for a very long time, Lonzo is GOAT level. I expect to be on that level, and I expect the show to be on that level. We did not get named this year. I don't know why. I don't know how it was judged, what the criteria is. All I know is I don't care who the show goes in front of. I expect that this show is good enough that they will listen to it and go, damn, that's a good show. That's as good of a show as you're going to get. And that didn't happen. So, what I will say is that you are getting, if I may borrow a phrase from everybody's favorite WWE superstar, Becky Lynch, you are getting the Rob Brown comeback tale, and it starts today. You are getting a reinvigorated Rob Brown. You are getting an energized Rob Brown. And you have got a Rob Brown with a red sequin jacket hanging in his closet that will not get worn this year. It will not get worn. In fact, tomorrow, I'm bringing it into this studio. I'm hanging it on the wall because we are going to look at it every damn day until it is time for Zoe and I next summer to put the red sequins on, to drive to Columbia, and to snatch that trophy back and bring it back where it belongs, right here to the Fan Upstate. So, I do apologize. This is not meant to be a bummer segment. This is not meant to bring anybody down. This is meant to put you and everybody in the state of South Carolina on notice. The show is about to start rolling. Because as far as I am concerned, nothing less than that Crystal Trophy is acceptable. Lonzo deserves it. You guys deserve a show that earns that trophy. And I will do more to make sure that that happens. So I apologize that we did not go back to back. It is, I would be lying to tell you that I did not get humbled up a little bit yesterday. Because I just assumed we were going back to Columbia. I'm not going to lie. I just assumed we were going back to Columbia. We haven't yet. We will next year. That red sequin jacket starting tomorrow is going to hang right there in that corner. And we are going to look at it every freaking day. Every day. Until Zoe and I are wearing that red, well, not like both wearing that jacket, but one of us is wearing that red sequin jacket in Columbia next year and picking up the next piece of hardware because we're not done. I'm certainly not done. Let's take a break. When we come back, Rashad Beard is the host of the Panther Nation podcast. We're going to talk Panthers football with him. Not breaking news. I should say developing news, I guess, on the Baker Mayfield front, including what Albert Greer had to say. That was pretty interesting about Baker potentially ending up in Charlotte. I know we're at the point of the story when it's like, dude, do it or don't, but can we stop now? And the answer is, I hope. Make a decision, one way or the other. We'll talk to Rashad about it next. My name is Rob Brown. He's the great one, Lonzo. This is the Fan Upstate. Give Rashad the invite.
It's pretty funny, Tim. You have no idea why it's pretty funny, but it's pretty funny.
Dude, I'm happy. Tim, you're always welcome on the show, buddy. Always welcome on the show. Now, is Tim Frisbee dropping a "you need to have me on to interview me"? Or Tim Frisbee, do you just want to come on and earn your spot as a character on the show? Because you're obviously P1. Tim Frisbee has been tweeting me since I showed up on this station, and I am eternally grateful for that. Because when I started seeing Tim Frisbee show up in my mentions, I'm like, yo, I'm doing something right. The man's a legend. But Tim, I say the phone number every day. I've yet to heard you call in, fella. If you want me to, are you saying, I think Tim just dropped a, have your people get with my people and let's schedule something on me. I think that's what happened. Tim, this may shock you. I don't have my people. I don't have a my people.
Yeah, because I'm a horrible producer. I don't do that stuff. I have a real smart aleck thing to say to Tim, since supposedly he's my nemesis.
Your arch nemesis.
It hasn't helped Mark any. That's all I'm saying. I mean, that's the.
And now Tim's never coming on.
That's a horrible thing to say. You're always welcome, dude. But you know what my first thought is, and I'm not going to voice that. Has to do with where Tim's located. Plus, in truth, this is the first year in the history of this award that it hasn't been won by the station. So I look at it like this. You know, Michigan finally won one. They went up against the juggernaut that was Ohio State for how many years before they finally won one? It's not going to happen again, but they finally won one. So, I mean, you know. You said you sent that to Rashad?
Yeah.
Okay. You need to change the background thingy.
Yeah. Rashad, what's up, big fella?
What's up, guys?
How we doing, man?
Good.
You ready to do another 10 minutes on Baker Mayfield?
Won't die, man. It will not die.
So Trey wants to know who will have a better record in the next 2 years, Baker, Deshaun, or Sam Darnold.
Sam won't even be in the league in the next 2 years.
There's no guarantee that that Deshaun will be, at least for a year anyway.
That's
I'm gonna
true.
go Baker. I'm gonna go Baker's the answer. Because here's the thing: if Baker's either in Charlotte or Seattle next
Yeah, he's
year.
playing somewhere probably.
Yeah, it's either Charlotte or
Yeah.
Seattle next year. Regardless of where, if he goes to Seattle, he will have one. If he goes to Charlotte, Sam Darnold won't have a record in 2 years. I'm not convinced Deshaun's not getting a 2-year suspension at this point. But I'm going to go Baker.
Yeah, I probably pick Baker too. I think it would all come from really 1 year, though. You think about it. I don't think Baker. I mean, Sam is not going to do anything next year. The Baker, if he gets the job, he's going to be the starter, so Sam won't get anything. And I'd argue that Crowell's going to take over next season. So neither one of those guys, man, get them all out of here, man.
My dude, how old is that shirt?
This is new. I just got
Is
it.
it?
It's like vintage.
Oh,
It's vintage.
It looked faded. I'm like, my man brought out the
Nice.
the expansion shirt.
It's new, but it's like got a throwback vibe to it. That's why I
I
like
got
it.
you.
How dare you criticize?
No, I'm
this-
not criticizing.
Come
I was
on,
gonna
dude.
say I like it. I'm a vintage guy, man. The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. This is the Fan Upstate. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. Now joining us on the stream, as he does every Thursday, which you can watch by going to facebook.com/thefanupstate. You can watch it by going to YouTube, liking and subscribing to the Rob Brown Show. And you can watch this young man stream by going to his YouTube channel at Panther Nation Podcast. He is the host of the Panther Nation Podcast. He is Rashad Beard joining us here on the show. What's up, fella?
We back to talk Baker. More Baker, right?
Yeah. I don't know. Let's see. It's 9:40. We got about 14 minutes to kill. It's all Baker all the time. No, actually, while I don't want to spend the entirety of this interview on Baker, obviously we have to, Rashad, because we have now got a number of articles coming out saying different things. Number one, Albert Breer of, I believe, Sports Illustrated came out and said that the Browns are willing to pay $9 to $10 million of Baker's contract. So you would be looking at a 1-year rental in the neighborhood of $6 to $7 million. But at the same time, you've also got reports that Seattle are now moving in the direction of being interested in Baker Mayfield. All of this, to me, Rashad says, if the Panthers are going to pull the trigger on the 1-year rental, You've got to do it now, because if Seattle does start bringing bags to the table, it makes the price go up. You're not going to get a better deal than you're going to get on Baker if you go now. Is this now, with the heat on, time for the Panthers to pull the trigger on Baker Mayfield, in your opinion?
You got to be real careful, because this could be a lot of games. This could be some tricks by the Browns to drive up the price, or to get Carolina to commit early. So you got to be careful. But look at who they have us like going after. Look who they have us arguing and comparing. I mean, all I see on Twitter: Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold. Who's going to be like? Look at where we've come. Like, look at where we are as an organization at the quarterback position. I mean, it's really ridiculous that it's come down to this: Baker Mayfield or Sam Darnold. And I think if I'm Sam Darnold, I would hope that. Excuse me, if I'm Baker Mayfield, I would hope that the Seattle rumors are true, because Seattle's talking about an extension, and we have not talked about extension. We have committed, or not committed, but we have drafted a quarterback in Matt Corral, who's waiting in the wings, right? The ideal scenario is that Matt Corral sits for a year and then he goes and takes the reign next year. So where does that leave Baker in a year? We don't know. So if I'm Baker Mayfield, I'm taking the long-term money. I'm going with Seattle. If the rumors are true, I'm going with Seattle to get my extension, and there is no long-term option there. They've got Drew Lock and other Tavares Jackson's over there.
Geno Smith is there too.
Geno Smith. I said Tavares Jackson. Wow, throwback. My bad. Geno Smith. But yeah, I mean, there's nobody over there. So I'm going with Seattle if I'm Baker, looking at it from his perspective. But if I'm Carolina, man, I don't see if you combine the salaries of Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold, you're looking at about a mid-tier quarterback, a $25 million, something like that. So it's not huge. The money is not a big deal, but look at the output you're getting from these guys. The projected output, right? I'm not dying for either one of these guys. Like, I'm not gonna reach for Baker. If you get him, you get him. He's a 1-year rental. If he balls out, great. But if not, I'd rather see Corral, man. If we're doing all this, give me Corral and let's roll with it. But I'm not a fan of this Baker Mayfield stuff.
Right. So the question for me is, are you going to throw Matt Corral into the starting role in week 1? Is it a move you're willing to make in week 5, week 12, week 15? Is there a point this year that you decide to go Corral? Because if the answer to that is yes, right? If you're not 100% dedicated to saying you aren't playing this year, this is a learning year. This is a year where you're going to learn the speed of the game. You're going to learn the travel, et cetera, et cetera. If you are willing to let him start, there's no need to go get Baker. You just roll out there with Sam. But if you are committed to 1 year of him learning the game and not going feet to the fire too early, then Baker on a 1-year rental makes sense. If he balls out, the Panthers have a great year. Maybe you sneak in as a wild card team. Spectacular. Baker's going to get Cheddar to play somewhere else. You don't have to worry about it. If he comes in and he sucks, oh, well, you were going to have Sam Darnold out there anyway. Like, to me, either you're committing to Matt Corral not playing this year or you are, and the answer to that is whether you get Baker or not, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. And listen, I would love to see Matt Corral at some point this year. Maybe week 8, but it's so complicated because you have this coaching situation too. There's layers, right? There's layers to it. And I believe that Matt Rule has some time, right? I think he has another year or so. So I don't think they're gonna rush him out the door if the season isn't that great. I think they're gonna let him build. So if that's the case, why not take your time and see if Matt Corral is the guy? Like, if the rumors are true and what David Tepper is saying with the 5-year thing, why not throw Matt Corral out there sooner than you plan and see what you got? Because you have time. There's no pressure. I feel like maybe that isn't necessarily true. Maybe there is pressure on him to win now, and that's why you're seeing a Baker Mayfield. Because what else? I mean, come on, man. Let me ask you this. Let's reverse this interview. How many more wins? Right. How many more wins do you think Baker Mayfield gets over Sam Darnold?
3.
You think he's a 3-more-win guy?
I think he's 3 wins better than Sam. I think he is clearly better than Sam Darnold by 3 to 3.5 wins. Yes.
So Okay, so if that's the case, I'm assuming you're gonna think Sam is a 5-win guy, right?
I think
Around
Sam's
that?
a 5 to 6 week guy, 5 to 6 win guy. I think Baker's a guy that can get you closer to 9-10.
If that's the case, I mean, if you're rolling with that, then I would do it too. I would pull the trigger if you feel Baker Mayfield can get you 10 wins. I would pull the trigger, but I don't think so. I don't think he's a 3-win. I think he's maybe a 1 to 2 win guy over Sam Darnold.
That's it for real.
Yes, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I don't think it's that big of a difference. That's why I can't get with it, man. I can't get with Baker, bro.
I get it. I disagree. Baker's a playoff quarterback with had a decent receiver core and a decent line in Cleveland, took him to the playoffs. Here is the question.
Better than decent. Don't do decent. Better than decent. Yeah,
so let me jump in here. So you're saying if Sam Darnold was on those Cleveland teams, he would have done equal or better than what than what Baker did?
Yes, slightly less. Yes. I do.
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
When you're given the top offensive line in the league, the top running game in the league, you can do a lot of things with that. You can do a lot of things with that.
All right, let's flip the conversation to Matt Corral for just a second. Matt Corral is the third quarterback project now for Matt Rule. If Matt Corral ain't the guy, right? If he comes in and he's just not it, if he's Jimmy Clausen volume 2.0 for Carolina, does that seal the fate of Matt Rule? You've had 3 strikes at this position that you're supposed to know what you're doing. You are 0 for 3 with Bridgewater, Rule, and Corral. If Matt Corral strikes out, is that it for Matt Rule?
It has to be, man. When David Tepper bought this team, one of the things he came in, he said QB is a currency. You don't have a guy until you have the guy. All this is all things that he said. This is not me. So if you're playing around with the quarterback position, you don't have a guy who struck out 3, 4, 5, 6 times, because you're not including Cam Newton, you're not including Sam Darnold being a failure. I mean, there's a lot of guys in here that have failed, right? So if you can't get that guy, I have to agree that, listen, if he strikes out on Matt Corral, the guy he finally drafted, I think he's done. I think you gotta can this guy, man. He does not have the eye for quarterback talent. He does not know how to develop quarterbacks, and so I think you got to can him at that point.
All right, let's look offensive coordinator, because Albert Breer, we talked about him earlier. I'm going to play some sound from him later in the show. Breer said that Ben Mcadoo has been telling people within the HQ, within Charlotte, within the organization, that he can work with Sam Darnold, that he thinks under his tutelage and in his offense that Sam Darnold can be a guy, can go out there and be successful. Do you trust Ben Mcadoo? A guy that, and I've said this on my show a few times, I know Ben Mcadoo has taken a lot of heat for his time as the head coach of the New York football team, but if you look at his record as an OC, it's actually pretty good. He's actually been a pretty successful offensive coordinator. Is he, now that we've seen minicamp, we've seen new guys kind of start to work within the offense he's installing, based on what you've seen so far, is Mcadoo an asset for the Panthers? And do you think he can have an impact on the quarterback position?
Yeah, I think, given all the rankings that he's thrown out there with these guys, Patrick Mahomes, he's been calling all these guys, and now he's gotten a chance to get one of the guys he's made that call on. So I think Mcadoo, and I think you hit the nail on the head. Being a head coach is much different from being a coordinator. It's much more different responsibilities, and you got a lot more on your plate as a head coach. So, yeah, he sucks as a head coach. A lot of coaches suck as head coaches, but are really good as coordinators. So I would think that, I think, having him being a coordinator, having that head coach experience as well, is going to do wonders for the Carolina Panthers. Now, I'll say this, he's gotten a chance to work with some pretty darn good quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers, Eli Manning, debatable how good he is. But I think, can he get Corral to get into I would take Eli Manning all day. If you can develop Matt Corral into an Eli Manning style cornerback, I would take that all day, because you don't have to do much, right? There's so much more surrounding you, and you got the talent. The talent is on this roster, and that's the most frustrating thing when you watch the Carolina Panthers is now, especially this year. If we come out and we're not good this year, and you look at the offensive side of the football, there is talent all over the place, and I really feel like McAdoo's going to get the best out of it. Now, will the defense meet us halfway? I've got question marks there. But I think Mcadoo is going to take that next step for this offense. I think we're going to be good.
Rashad Beard hosts the Panther Nation podcast. You can find that on YouTube at Panther Nation Podcast. Make sure you're subscribed and get that notification bell. He drops videos alongside David Rhodes, his co-host, that are spectacular, and they do it a lot. Shot, obviously, minicamp's going on around the country. Some teams are wrapping them up. Some are in the middle. There's news that is coming out from lots of teams about different position players and skill players, etc., with the exception of Robbie Anderson's tweet and delete last week. Really, there hasn't been much noise on the Panthers front about moves, about free agency, but about off-field drama. It's been relatively quiet around Charlotte, with the exception of repeated Baker Mayfield stories. Is that good? Is that bad? What do you make of that?
Yeah, no news is good news, man. We don't want the Carolina Panthers in the news. Knock on wood, injuries, we don't have any. We're looking good there. And so, yeah, no news is good news. The only news that really came up was Carlos Dunlap. We brought him in for a workout. He ended up, leaving Carolina without a contract. So I don't know what's up with that. Hopefully they bring him in closer to training camp. Maybe he wants to spend more time with his family before he signs somewhere. So we'll see. But yeah, I think we're in good shape, man. I just hope that, again, the young guys continue to work hard, develop. But yeah, I think we're in good shape. Stay out of the news, and I think we're good to go.
We talked about Dunlap last week, and look, the guy's been a Pro Bowler. The numbers came down a bit, but he was still an 8.5 sack guy last year. But defensive end looks like one of the positions you guys have pretty good depth already. Is that a spot that you would need to sign a vet? Or is that just let's get a guy in the clubhouse who's got some experience behind him kind of signing?
Yeah, I think that's it. I think it's an experience thing. Bring him in as a rotational guy. I certainly hope he's not coming in to be a starter because, like I said last week, I like YGM. I want to see Marquise Haynes. I think they both have talent, and we need to see it. Bringing in a veteran to kind of cover that up and take snaps from them is not the best idea, in my opinion. We need to see them fully develop. And so, yeah, I feel like, Dunlap is that veteran presence. I mean, outside of Burns, who's still, he's still he's on a 5th-year option right now. So he's still relatively young. We don't have an Hassan Reddick style guy that's been in the league a long time and can kind of teach these guys. So I think that's more of a veteran presence thing. You can't have enough veteran presence. You need those veteran guys on the team. So I love it if we can bring them in. If we can get that signing, I would love to make that happen.
Rashad Beard hosts the Panther Nation podcast. You can find that on YouTube by searching Panther Nation podcast. Make sure you are subscribed and hit that bell icon so you'll know when Shad and David put out new videos. They do it all the time, and they're all fantastic. My guy, appreciate it as always, big fella. We'll talk to you next week, and hopefully we'll have more Baker stuff to get to, man.
No more Sam Darnold. No more Baker Mayfield, please. I'm tired. Let's leave the Baker stuff alone, man. I'm done.
Go. Rashad, we'll talk to you next week, fella.
Peace out, guys.
There you go. That's Rashad Beard, host of the Panther Nation podcast. Again, you can follow them, subscribe to them on YouTube, follow them on the social at Panther Nation PC. We are back right after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. All right, kids, we're back. Let's see here. Yeah, hey, look, Joe, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. We gave it a run. We didn't get there. It happens. What are you going to do, right? You come back. I am going to bust my rear end to make sure that this next year is undisputable. We will be undisputed. All right, Tim, we'll do it. We'll do it. We'll get you on, fella. I got no issue with that. I do happen to know that you are a regular guest on another sports talk radio show in the area. I just don't want to, kick up any dirt. You know what I'm saying?
I do. I'm all about the dirt kicking.
Not very Star Award winning of you, Robert, to offend the guest. Well, the things that I do are not Star Award winning. Is Matt Crowell a better prospect than Will Greer? But yes. Yeah, in my opinion, absolutely. Greer wasn't bad, but there was never anything about him that stood out. In fact, I don't love Matt Corral, if I'm being honest with you. There wasn't a whole heck of a lot about Matt Corral that jumped off the page, but he was consistently consistent, and I'll take that, right? In that role, I'll take that.
Yeah, I saw that.
I love that meme. I love that meme. That is spectacular.
You may be right, Seb, because you know what? Johnny Manziel at least brought some excitement. I mean, he was either going to flame out or he was going to be good either way, and he flamed out. But either way, it was going to be exciting. There's going to be a buzz about it. There's really no buzz about Matt Corral. The light's on in the office, by the way. That's never good.
That's not good.
That's
not good.
It's never good.
That means they got to do real stuff.
No. He's still working on my laptop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. It just means, it's.
Lonzo and I just have a lamp in there that we use.
All right. It's me. Rob
just has a lamp in there.
Fluorescent lights give me headaches. And I work better in mood lighting.
I want to get some LED strips to put behind my computer monitors to light up that wall behind them.
They're not that expensive.
No, they're not.
I actually have some for my car. I still haven't hooked them up in my car yet.
Oh, I've got them on the back of my they're on the back of my TV, and it's kind of cool. It's got this little camera piece that hangs over the top of the TV screen. It looks down at the screen. So the lights will match the colors on the border of the TV.
Oh, okay.
So like if you're watching the Hulk, when they show his face and they zoom in and it's green, the wall behind it will light up green.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah. When you're watching sports, it's really dope because when you're watching hockey, like around the outside, it'll be white to match the rink. But then, like, if the lightning score and the screen turns blue, it'll turn blue and silver. It's really cool. I love you guys. Y'all are the best. You know, I got a little bit of an ego, a little bit of an attitude to do the show. You kind of have to, right? You've got to have an ego. You've got to have an attitude to be successful in this business. You have to. Because trust me, there are people out there that have zero problem telling you how much you suck. It's happened to me lots of times in lots of places. I was on a show in Mobile a week and a half ago after Feinbaum made those stupid ass comments about Dabo. I was on a station in Mobile, and all I did was say that Feinbaum created a safe space for SEC fans who didn't want to be triggered with the knowledge that college football exists outside of the Southeast. And boy, howdy, you guys should have seen some of the things that popped up on my Twitter feed afterwards.
Well, you were using buzzwords that
Oh, I did it 100% intentional.
Yeah, I mean, of course you did it on purpose.
100%.
I find your troll game to be excellent.
Thank you. So, we get told we suck a lot. And I do appreciate when we get texts like this one from Tiger Pal Rachel, who said, Rob, you and Lonzo may not be repeating this year, but I enjoy listening so much that I hate when I get to work, have to get out of my car and turn you guys off to go into the building. Keep up the great work. That's from Tiger Pal Rachel. Thank you, Rachel. It means a lot to me, sincerely.
You know, they make earbuds that will kind of like in-ear monitors that musicians use that will match your skin tone so that your boss will never know 100%. You have them in.
You get your little FBI earpiece. You can actually get that little spiral thing in flesh color. You just stick it under your hair, take it in, plug it into the phone. No, we appreciate that, Rachel. That's awesome. Thank you very much. And by the way, for those of you that have been texting and tweeting in, trying to start some stuff between one-time Star Award winner for Sports Talk Radio Show of the Year, Offsides with Mark Ryan, and one-time Sports Talk Radio Show of the Year award winner, The Rob Brown Show, you won't do it. Because when I got here and I saw Mark's trophy, the first thing I said was, that's awesome. Congratulations. I want one. And when Lonzo and I got nominated last year for that award, do you know who dropped the very first congratulations on me? Mark Ryan. What's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Believe it or not, I was present for that too.
Yeah.
So yes.
Yeah.
I was also congratulated.
Yeah. Absolutely. Listen, if one of us takes home trophy, both of us prosper on it, right? Like we both get paid. It's great. That being said, like I said, Lonzo and I, we set a goal. And our goal is to be the best. It is to be the standard. That's what we gun for. We didn't get it this year. The red sequin jacket that I planned on winning to the awards ceremony is being brought to the studio tomorrow. It's getting hung in that corner, and we will stare at it for 365 days until we get announced as finalists next year. And if we don't get it next year, it'll sit there for 365 more until we get it back where that trophy deserves to be, right here.
Should we ask engineering to put a spotlight on it as a point of emphasis?
There's no asking. I'm doing that.
Okay,
it is going to be a spectacle. People tuning into the stream who have never been on the stream are going to be like, what the hell is that? Right? That Charlotte flag is getting moved. It is getting hung and lit up right there. We are staring at it every day until it happens. All right. But those of you that have texted, I sincerely appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Listen, it is not hurt feelings. It is not sour grapes. It is nothing but Motivation. It is nothing but motivation. First thing Lonzo and I texted about yesterday. Nope, tomorrow the show is reborn. Because I'm not going 2 years in a row. I didn't get to go 2 years in a row winning it. I am not going 2 years in a row not being a finalist. It's not happening. It's just not. All right. A lot of stuff to get into. Texter says the Rob Brown Show is by far the best sports show in the area, maybe in the entire Southeast. That's what we're going for. I would be lying to you to tell you that I don't have again, aspirations to get the show syndicated across the Southeast and then across the nation and then across the world. What are we going to do today, Pinky? That's just how it goes. And then you get text like this one. Fan, I misplaced my earbuds and I had my phone on top of my forklift yesterday to listen. I hit a bump and the phone fell and hit me in the head. I have a knot. I love the show that much. My man was rolling the... Listen, I'm not suggesting that you listen to the Rob Brown Show while operating heavy machinery.
Let me.
But that's incredible.
Let me quote the great Keanu Reeves: "Pain heals, chicks dig scars, glory lasts forever."
That's it. Texter says, "Get the wide angle lens for that big ass jacket for the stream." Man, I'm like a 34. What are you talking about? I'm like a 34, 36 long, dude.
What's an average size for a jacket? I don't know. I've got like one. So.
I mean, listen, I'm not saying I'm not big. I'm clearly big. I'm clearly a big fella. But I don't think you're going to need a wide angle lens for a jacket that is 12 feet from the camera, my man.
Is it the size of a Holocaust cloak? I'm just curious.
It's like, what is... I'm not rolling in dressed like Gandalf the Grey, my man. It's just a sport coat. All right? It's just a sport coat. That's it. Get a wide angle lens. What do you think? I'm wearing a parachute? It's just I know I'm fat, all right? I get it. I earned it. I'm trying to unearn it. But I don't think I require a fisheye lens to fit on camera, dude. Thanks for the text. Texter said, I'm on vacation next week in Folly Beach, and I'll be listening to the show while drinking cold beers on the beach. Hammering down cold beers from 9 to noon. You are a true listener. I like it. My guy. Text us from Folly. I'm not against that at all. 10 o'clock cracking a cold one on the beach. That's where life begins, my man.
Remember, we have Steven. I think he's still on vacation.
Yeah, Steven's down in Madeira, Florida, listening. We appreciate you guys singing us with us. Texture said, Rob Brown 2024. No, you don't want me in that much control. Let's start with, let's just try to take over South Carolina Sports Talk Radio. Then we'll look at the rest of the world, yeah?
Yeah, you're not old enough to do that other thing yet.
Yes, I am.
Why do I want to think it's 45? Is it 35? This is 35?
Yeah,
it might be 35. For some reason, I was thinking it's 45.
Let's see. You have to be 35 and been a resident of the United States for 14 years.
Okay, so you're in trouble there.
So if any of you
because you're from Florida, and some people don't consider that a part of,
Rude.
I didn't say me. I just heard tell. That's all.
All right. I appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you guys very much for all the kind words. Like I said, it is not sour grapes. It is not hurt feelings. I mean, it is hurt feelings. I'd be lying to tell you I wasn't bummed out by it. But I was bummed out not because, I didn't get a trophy. I was bummed out because I expect of myself to bring you guys the best sports talk show in this state. And the fact that we aren't that disappoints me because I'm not doing my job good enough for y'all. So you get a brand new, reinvigorated, re-energized me for the next 365 until Lonzo and I crack the mic a year from today and go, we're heading back to Columbia and the red sequin jacket comes off the wall. Capiche? That's just how it's going to go. All right, let's get some sports in here. What do you say, eh? Let's get some sports in here. How about last night, a game winner in OT again, as the Avs have now pushed the Lightning to the brink of elimination, but it was a very controversial ending to the game. Nazem Kadri scores the biggest goal of his career last night when he broke away, came off the bench during a change, broke away, skated right by an exhausted Tampa back line, was able to go under the right arm of Andrei Vasilevsky and net the winner for Colorado in OT. It was a beautiful goal. It was a perfectly executed goal, except for the fact where there were 6 skaters on the ice for the Avs, because for that shift change, while Nazem Kadri was coming off the bench, he was replacing McKinnon. McKinnon, after the bench was cleared, after Kadri, came off the bench, there was about 5 seconds before Nathan McKinnon was able to get to the bench. Meaning there was about 5 seconds where Colorado had 6 skaters on the ice. And during that 6 seconds, that goal was scored. Kadri was able to sink underneath Vasilevsky's right arm into the back of the net. It looped around. There was about 10 seconds after the net was scored, after the goal was scored, that nobody realized. Colorado and Tampa were still playing before the ref realized, oh, damn, that puck's in the net. Whoops. Goal to end it. After the game was over, the Lightning head coach came out and was not happy. John Cooper got to the mic and he was like, look, here it is. Here it is. That goal should not have been allowed. I'm not going to talk about it until tomorrow because now I got to stare a locker room full of players who are down 3-1 in the face and explain to them how they got screwed by that call. And for the record, they did. For the record, they did.
You know, I saw the highlights of this whole thing, lowlights, depending on who you're a fan of. And my question is, did that 6th guy cause that goal to go in the net? Because I don't think he did.
Here's what it comes down to. McKinnon was nowhere near the goal when it happened, right? McKinnon had, you know, in football, there's a phrase that we use when a quarterback slides. What do we say he did? He gave himself up, right? You can't hit a quarterback once he begins the slide because he's given himself up. That was the big thing. Remember in the bowl game last year, Kenny Pickett, when he did the fake slide, but then he didn't slide and he kept running, everybody went, whoa, 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 whoa. You can't do that, right? Because once a quarterback's given himself up, by giving himself up, he's going, you can't hit me. And then
if I recall, Pickett got away with that.
Pickett did get away with that because nobody had ever done it before. Shockingly enough, nobody had ever done that before. McKinnon had effectively given himself up. He was clearly no longer playing at this point, right? His stick was in the air. He was skating straight up and down, making his way to the bench. But he was still very much on the ice. He was still very much on the ice when the goal was scored. So you can make the argument that he did not have a direct impact on the play, right? It's kind of like holding in football. If the running back is off the right-hand side and 12 yards down the field and the wide receiver on the backside holds the guy, the referee's not going to call a hold there because it didn't impact the play, right? So maybe McKinnon didn't have a direct involvement, but here is the argument that Tampa's going to make. McKinnon may have been skating. He may have very clearly given himself up, was holding a stick in the air, whatever. But if I'm a Tampa defender and my job is the back right circle, And here comes Kadri down the left-hand side. And my goal is the backside, right? Do not allow a cross to get from the left circle to the right circle and in behind Vasilevsky. That's my job to shut that down. Well, if I'm looking to the left at the puck coming into the zone, peripheral vision is a huge part of any game. If I'm looking left and I'm staring at the guy carrying the puck into the zone, and over in the right, I see a white jersey that is around center ice, my peripheral is going to pick that up as what? A backside attacker, right? That's a guy who is probably making his way into my zone, and I need to account for that guy. So I may stay over on the right-hand side. And I'm not saying this is what happened. I'm just giving you the argument Tampa's going to make. I may stay over to defend that guy to prevent that cross across the face of Vasilevsky. But what happens there is now Kadri pushing up the right side, my left, his right side, does not have a guy coming over to get in between him and the goal and make him either A, charge through it, or B, dump the puck back to find somebody following up for a better shot. So the argument may be McKinnon was not directly involved in that goal, right? He was not directly involved in that goal. But what I can argue is he may have been indirectly involved with it, because my defenders are having to account for a sixth skater, right? Because the guys playing defense, they're not going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're counting their zone. They're counting the skaters in their zone. They're trying to mark those guys out. And if there's an extra skater, now all of a sudden the offense looks entirely different. So you can make the argument that McKinnon was indirectly involved in the play. He was not playing. He was not skating into the zone. But if you're a defender looking to the left and you just see a guy in all white skating to the right, you might think he's an attacker who's trying to flank around the right-hand side and get him for a cross. The point here is that is bad officiating. Because even if McKinnon was not directly involved in the goal, he may have been indirectly. And this was the biggest goal of the series so far, right? You had the OT winner for Colorado in game 1, but that was game 1. Somebody's got to win in game 1 and go up 1-0. This was the OT winner in game 4 in Tampa. So not only is Tampa now on the brink of elimination, but they are on the brink of elimination and have to go back to Colorado. I'm not saying Tampa wins the game if you call too many men on the ice and you pull that goal out, which is what should have happened. I'm saying Andrei Vasilevsky was a man last night. My dude was a brick wall in front of the net. Dude was an absolute stud. But I will also say this. It is on the Lightning a little bit. Even if Colorado got away with one, it's on the Lightning, because here is the reality. As good as Vasilevsky was last night, and he was damn good. As good as Vasilevsky was last night, what you cannot do is let him be assaulted in overtime like he was. Tampa Bay could not get shift changes in. It ended up with tired skaters. In fact, I think at one point, I can't remember who it was, but they said at one point that one of the defenders on the back line was on like a 3-minute and 15-second shift. A traditional shift is 30 to 45 seconds. My man was out there 3:15. Just could not find a way to the bench. By the time that Colorado was into overtime, and by the time that Kadri was on his way down the right-hand side, right? Tampa was exhausted. Kadri was fresh. fresh legs. His was his first game back from injury. So not only was he fresh coming off the bench after a long shift reset, but he has not played in a while, so he had the freshest legs probably of any player on the ice. Darcy Kemper dumped the puck from the goal all the way into the forecheck. Kadri picked it up, carried it through, coming off of the change. Cherry picked a little bit, but hey, it's hockey. What are you going to do? And just buried it past Vasilevsky. Vasilevsky should have been the first star last night, despite the L, because that dude was an absolute machine late in that game. But if you are Tampa, you cannot let Andrei Vasilevsky get absolutely assaulted like he did in overtime and then go, surprise, when one finally gets through. The law of averages is going to get you, and it got Tampa last night. So Tampa now down 3-1 and headed back to arguably the toughest place to play in the NHL postseason, Denver, Colorado. They are playing for their lives. And now the experience that Tampa has, they have not been in a place like this before. They have not been on the brink of an elimination away in one of the most ruthless places to play in all of hockey. The one advantage that the Lightning had, Colorado just took away from them because they are good. Let's take a break. Got a couple of baseball stories to get to when we come back. How about the Bravos last night? Walking it off against the Giants. They now have an opportunity after taking the swing game to take the whole series against a good Giants team. And that builds momentum towards a weekend series with the Dodgers. A critical series against the Dodgers. Tell you how that all shapes up and more when we come back on the Rob Brown Show. Rob Alonso, this is the Fan Upstate. Rob, is it Navarre Beach you recommended near Destin as a destination? Yes, if you want like a quiet, out-of-the-way beach, right? Like if you want a beach that is quiet, that there's not as many people on, still stuff, there's bars and restaurants, but it's not crazy, then go there. If you want a bar that's, a beach that's loud and there's a lot of people and it's fun and it's very touristy, Destin is absolutely the way to go. I will tell you, Navarre costs about 60% as much as Destin, though, both to stay and enjoy. So, yes, Navarre Beach, one of my favorite places. If you go to Navarre Beach, there's a tiki bar called Juana's Pagoda there. Best bar in America. It is my favorite bar. I love it. Be right back, stream. Yeah, man, Steven, you'll love Navarre. Navarre's great. Like I said, it's the same beaches as Destin, exactly the same beaches as Destin. Every bit as beautiful, but it's cheaper. It's a little bit more of a secret. It's a great place. Seb, it's Mobile. I don't even know how else you would say it.
Need an extra syllable on the end.
Mobile.
They used a scan of Elizabeth Olsen's eye to create Gargantus's eyeball. You know the big thing that they're fighting at the beginning?
Oh, gotcha.
That's her eye.
Yeah, gotcha.
That's wild.
All right, let me get, I'll go clip number 2 here, if you don't mind, real quick, Lonzo. Last night, Atlanta taking on San Francisco at Truist Park. The Giants have been pretty good. The Braves, of course, have gotten significantly better. And at one point, we're well below 500. Last night, they took on a Giants team that is third in the NL West. 4.5 games back of the LA Dodgers, who were supposed to be the best team in baseball. The end of that game, bottom 9, 3-0 Giants, and then this happened.
You got the right guy coming up to get on base, and Dansby to give the other guys behind you a chance to keep the game going, tied up.
The 3-2 pitch. Swing, fly ball, well hit left center field. At the track, at the wall, it's gone. Dansby Swanson with a leadoff homer in the 9th. What an at bat for the Braves shortstop.
Boy, look at that. You see how the head's right on the ball? Doesn't move. 106 miles per hour, dead center.
Here's Ozuna. He singled and scored the first Braves run. Shot the other way and under the glove of Bell. What an at-bat by Ozuna. I mean, 2 big league at-bats, Jeff, back-to-back.
I mean, that ball was almost hit the ground. Look how his hands come through.
With a chance for Atlanta to get the game tied. Ozuna at second, 1 out. Key man in the inning is Contreras, who's grounded out twice and walked. He's ahead in the count, 2 balls and a strike. Swing, shot, and a base hit. Ozuna, bad read, but he's going to get waved. Here it comes around third. Contreras ties the game with a base hit to left.
What a matchup for Contreras, Chip. He's quiet, loves that fastball, gets one here at 95.
So here is Adam Duvall with the winning run now at second. 3-3, bottom of the 9th.
Rogers ready. Swing, line drive, center field, base hit. Here comes Williams around third. Slater up. Here's the throw. It is up the line, and the Braves walk off again. They find a way, and the Braves have a chance to win the series tomorrow. On Duvall's 4th walk-off hit, Jeff, they pick up a game in the East.
You know, there's something in, if you study biology, there's something that happens when, you know, you get DNA passed on, half the DNA from each of your parents, and inside your DNA there are obviously your genetics, and your genetics are basically proteins, right? And they're proteins that are triggered to turn on or off based on other proteins and enzymes that are within your genes. And when there's a mutation within your genes, sometimes a gene that you have, that maybe it's a gene for red hair, does not turn on, and so your hair doesn't turn red. Sometimes there's a signal gene that turns it on, and now all of a sudden you got red hair, or whatever the case might be. It's fascinating stuff. The Braves have activated their clutch gene, because that is another gut out win. How about another gut out win for Atlanta? Down in the bottom of the 9th. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I quit that game. I quit that game. 2 nights ago, Orlando Arcia, who has been stepping in, remember, for the injured Ozzie Albies at second base. 2 nights ago, Orlando Arcia delivered a walk-off single. Charlie Morton went 11 strikeouts over 7, but a solo home run to Mike Yastrzemski and Darren Ruff. The Giants tallied another off A.J. Minter in the top of the 9th. And what did the Braves do? They go out there, they clutch it up, and they win in the bottom of the 9th. The Braves, by the way, 2-24 before this series when trailing after 6. Trailing after either the 7th or 8th innings, 0-26. Now, against a good Giants team, they have done it twice in 3 games. They take game 1 in a bottom of the 9th walk-off. They take game 3 in a bottom of the 9th walk-off. And the Braves now lead this 4-game set 2-1 over San Francisco. The worst they can do is tie up a series with the team that is 4.5 games off the lead in the NL West, expected to be the toughest division in baseball this year. The Dodgers have the best offensive lineup on paper ever. The Padres are at 62% winning percentage, and they don't have Fernando Tatis Jr. back yet. The Giants are 4.5 games off of both of those teams. And the Diamondbacks and Rockies are both not good, but those were both expected to be 100-loss teams. Neither one of them is going to be. The Braves last night showed that the clutch gene has been activated. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it took. But they found a different gear. They found a different level. There was a story in I want to say the Atlanta Journal-Constitution from a couple of days ago, that was asking the question, what happened? What switch got flipped? Jesse Rogers told the story. He's from ESPN. Rogers said that when the team dropped the first 2 of a series against the Diamondbacks to close out May. Yeah, the Diamondbacks. Again, not a good team, certainly not a bad team, but not a good team. Brian Snitker said, no, we can't do this. This cannot be allowed. This is not who and what we are. We're better than this. So he called the team together. He called the team together, closed door meeting for players and managers only. He got Walt Weiss, the bench coach. He went around. They got the players in Phoenix. Away game. Didn't wait. You know, a lot of coaches might say, let's finish up this trip. Let's get back home. Let's have this uncomfortable meeting on our own couch. Snit said, nope, we're doing it here in Phoenix. This is too important. Let's get it out of the way now. Called the boys together. Did he rant? Did he rave? Did he yell? Did he scream? Nope. According to sources, all he did was look the Braves in the face and say, you're better than this. Relax. You're better than this. Calm down. You're better than this. Take a break. You're going to be okay. What the Braves do? That press conference, scratch that. That meeting was the last day in May, right? He said, June, new month, new team. What are we going to do? New month, new team. The Bravos came out, reeled off 14 in a row after that. The longest winning streak since Brian Snitker took over as the manager of the Braves. 14-game winning streak. And now they're going up against a good Giants team and are on the verge tonight of taking the series from that team and putting the Dodgers on notice, yeah? Because the Dodgers and the Giants have battled this year. And if the Braves go 3-1 against the G-Men, the Dodgers got to know this Braves team's for real. Put them on notice. You'll love to see it. Good on Atlanta. Snit, man, manager of the year last year, might be this year if the Bravos don't come crashing back down to earth. Let's take a break. When we come back, got a few more stories I want to get into. Roger Goodell was on Capitol Hill virtually yesterday. Said he has no authority to do a lot of things. And he's right. But Congress decided that was enough. And Dan Snyder might be put on the hook now. I'll tell you why. Texture says NBA draft tonight. Any basketball talk? Yup. Because there's a couple of stories about the Hornets that we need to break down. And we'll take a look at the top 10 picks in tonight's NBA draft. Plus, coming up at 11, it's Thursday, and you know what that means. Fight Club with Lonzo, your home for all things combat sports. Then Jake Keegan of the Greenville Triumph joins us at around 11:22, and then Twitter to wrap it up. The Rob Brown Show's busy. This is the Fan Upstate. Grab a water stream. I shall return very briefly. Don't go anywhere. Please don't go anywhere. All right. All right.
By the way, T2 is really excited because his submission was nominated.
Oh, good.
So, yeah. So
Good.
his first try, I will tell you, it was really good.
Was it?
Yeah, but what his background is in,
Sound manipulation.
yeah, and he's really good. And I listened to it, and there's just a couple tweaks that I thought he should make, and yeah, it was really good
Good for T2.
for his first try ever. I mean, it's
Solid effort.
Yeah.
Solid effort.
One of my bigger disappointments is that I don't get to go see him win his first.
Go. You can still go.
No, because it's on Saturday, and if I ain't going to that, I'm going to do my show.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, so
Oh, I'll come to your show that day too, because I will have some pent up aggression to take out.
some angst.
Trey asked Steven how was parasailing. Yeah, you know what's funny? Grew up on the beach. I have never been parasailing. I've been skydiving.
I watched. When we were at the beach a couple weeks ago, and I was watching someone do it, and watch how they. I'm like, okay, they're coming down. How are they doing this? And they just reel them into the boat instead of I'm thinking they're going to splash down, and no, they reeled them into the boat, and then they put a couple more people on it, and then they reeled them out.
Yeah. So it's I've got a buddy of mine who's done it, and he told me it's a big fishing rod.
Yeah.
They reel you in, and then once they start to let you out, if you speed the boat up, the drag of the parachute pulls it down to the water. So like you'll see them, they'll put you up in the air, and then they'll go real fast, and they'll pull you down so your feet drag in the water while you're still parachuting behind the boat. And then when the boat slows up, the parachute obviously creates more lift, air resistance pushes the parachute up. So the faster you go, it's like a kite. If you run real fast with a kite, it comes down. It's basically that. Loved it. Had one of my daughter's friends who had never done it, saw sea turtles and manatees. So I've never been parasailing, but there's a pier, a fishing pier in Fort Walton Beach where I grew up. And we would go fish off the pier, where the pier goes out about 150 yards past the beach where swimmers are. And, dude, we used to see sharks every day off the edge of that pier.
Nope.
They never come in. They don't come into the sandbar where the peoples are. But we saw sharks every day when we'd be out there fishing. It was kind of cool. Lonzo's like, disagree.
Well, there was a guy who used to work here who would catch sharks on a canoe.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's like no.
I've been shark fishing.
I mean,
I wouldn't do it with a canoe
I could see
or a kayak.
I could see it was a kayak. It was a kayak
Mm-hmm.
that he did it with. I can't. I've never understood that kind of crazy.
Now,
Although,
we'll tell you what I've seen
considering who
people
it
do.
is, it's not really that much of a surprise, but still, it's like
Yeah.
you've got to be confident in what you're doing. to
Yep.
do that.
I've seen what a lot of people do is they will put the fishing pole in a rod holder on the beach, put the bait and the hook on the kayak. They will kayak out 400, 500, 600 yards to where the sharks are, drop the bait down, and then kayak back to the beach to get ready for a bite. I'm like, what do you do if they bite while you're still out there?
Yeah.
The Rob Brown Show wrapping up our numero dos. It's Thursday. You know what that means. Alonzo's got Fight Club, but it is at a special time coming up at 11 a.m., top of the next hour, because Jake Keegan of the Greenville Triumph is going to join us coming up at 11:20 as the boys return back to the Ville this Saturday and try to hold on to their spot at the top of the table. We're going to talk to Jake Keegan about that. Last night, NHL game number 4, and the Avs pushed the Lightning to the brink of elimination. 3-1 now. The Avs leave that after an OT winner to go ahead and walk Tampa out of Florida and back to Colorado, ready to try to put this thing away. But let's get a couple of other stories in here before we get to the end of the hour. Let me do this. Let me get the other sound clip number 1, if you don't mind, Lonzo. We'll run through it real quick. Albert Breer is an NFL reporter that has been staying very close to the Baker Mayfield story out of Cleveland. He writes for Monday Morning Quarterback. He covers sports for NBC Sports. Albert Breer was on the Rich Eisen podcast yesterday. Now, full disclosure, I have edited a lot of the ums and silence out of this clip, as well as pulled apart out of the middle where he talked about Seattle, because it was a very long clip and I wanted to get it down as short as I can. But here is Albert Breer on the Rich Eisen podcast yesterday talking about Carolina standing in the Baker Mayfield situation.
I would tell you that if there was a good deal out there for Baker Mayfield for the Panthers, he might already be a Panther. I think if they were in a position where they only had to pay him $4 or $5 million, then I think there's a decent chance that the Baker Mayfield would be in Carolina now, and Cleveland would have a draft pick for him. On the flip side, Cleveland's been willing to take on a fair amount of Baker's salary, like $9-10 million. So, for people out there that think that Cleveland's holding on to Baker as Deshaun insurance, they wouldn't be offering to take on a pretty significant portion of the guy's salary if they were looking to hold him until there's more clarity in the Deshaun Watson case. So do I think there's a solution to be found here where the Panthers could go get Baker Mayfield and throw him into a competition with Sam Darnold and Matt Corral? I certainly think that solution is out there. I just think for the Panthers to do it, I think it's going to have to be a bargain. I don't know how close they were on draft pick compensation or anything like that. If we felt if you feel like you're getting a deal, then go ahead and do the deal. You know what I mean? And it's worth taking the extra swing. I also think there was value for Carolina, though, in getting a full off-season program, with a look at Sam Darnold and Ben McAdoo's offense, because McAdoo's articulated to people in that building that he thinks he can work with Sam, and then also getting a clear look at Matt Corral, who has some off-field questions and everything else, but is talented, and maybe should have gone a little higher than he went there in the third round. And so, I think for both Carolina and Seattle, there was an element of wanting to get a good long look at the guys that are already in your building. And both teams were able to do that over the last 9 weeks. And lo and behold, here we are. And, we're in the back half of June now. And Baker Mayfield's still out there and Jimmy Garoppolo's still out there. So it's going to be interesting to see where this goes over the next few weeks, because now where teams are is with the offseason program done, every team has a chance to sort of reassess based on the 9 weeks of data that the offseason program gave them. And certainly that includes, the amount of information that both those teams were able to gather on their quarterbacks over the last 9 weeks.
I'm going to start with this. I don't know where he got that Matt Corral probably should have gone a little bit higher. Nobody was high on the quarterbacks in this class, right? Nobody loved the quarterbacks in this class. A lot of us thought Matt Corral was going to be gone probably late first round. In a regular QB year, Carolina got Matt Corral right where they wanted. That was part of the value of Matt Corral for me, was that he was in a spot that I would have expected a guy the caliber of Matt Corral to have gone. In a regular year, he went about where he would gone if we had a deeper QB class, but we didn't. I told you guys this going into the draft. I didn't love reaching for any quarterback in this draft. I didn't love reaching for any quarterback. There were some that I thought I would be more willing to reach for this guy. And I think Matt Corral got drafted exactly where he needed to. Now, as far as the rest of it goes, I agree with what Albert Breer had to say. I agree with what Albert Breer had to say in that you wanted to get a look at what you had in the house for Carolina, because you got a new offensive coordinator, you got a head coach who knows he's against the ropes, you got a new rookie quarterback. We've seen some rookie quarterbacks, not many, but some rookie quarterbacks be successful in the league before. So why not take a look at what you've got? Why not take a look at what you have, who's in the house, and see how it plays out, right? And that's what they did. It's been 9 weeks since the draft. You've had 2 weeks of minicamp to really get eyes on these guys. Now you make a decision. The bad news for you is that so did everybody else, including Seattle, who's now in the bidding. And if Albert is correct when he said that the Browns would be willing to pay $9 or $10 million of Baker's salary, that might have been true when there was only one team in the bidding. But ladies and gentlemen, supply and demand, we know how it works. If there's only one team that is demanding Baker Mayfield, the price is what it is. But if Seattle has looked and gone, you know what? Geno Smith and Drew Lock ain't the guys. They ain't the guys. Now they're in. Because the only other problem is that Jimmy Garoppolo's contract is going to be more expensive than Baker's. And they're looking to save a little cash at the QB spot as well. So if Seattle jumps into the mix, now, while Cleveland a week ago may have been willing to pay $9 or $10 million of Baker's contract, how much are they going to be willing to pay if you got two teams bidding against each other, right? If you're Carolina, now you got to start adding 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 more $1 million onto the table. And you heard Rashad say, at the end of the day, money is not the only thing that matters here. It's important, but it's not the end of the world, right? It's not the end of the world. But it is the more you start stacking on top of it. And the question is going to be, if you are the Panthers, when does Baker Mayfield not become worth it? When does it become worth it to hang on to that cash, let Sam carry you until Matt Corral shows he's ready? And boy, are you crossing your fingers, toes, and all other available appendages that Matt Corral will show you eventually that he is ready. I think you waited too long. It's now going to cost you more than it would have if you'd have just made the decision that should have been made 2 weeks ago. Let's take a break. When we come back, it's Thursday. You know what that means. Time for Fight Club with Lonzo. That's next on The Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate. So this isn't a story I would ever talk about on air, but Ripley's, believe it or not, let Kim Kardashian wear that Marilyn Monroe dress. Did you see that?
Yeah.
And she damaged it.
I've also read that she didn't damage it.
Well, Ripley's is saying she did not, but there's literally pictures of the back of it and it's jacked. And now she's gone on and said that she was very happy to do it because people didn't know who Marilyn Monroe was before she wore the dress and was able to give that woman some publicity.
She's right about her generation and people before. Her generation might be your generation. I don't know how old she is, but younger kids have no idea who Marilyn Monroe is. Losing history is one thing. Losing entertainment history, that's just going to happen. So,
does it need to be replaced with Kim Kardashian is all I'm saying.
I get it. But is Kim Kardashian the Marilyn Monroe of our time?
Take it back.
Apparently they think so. That's why they let her wear the dress.
Unsay that. Take those words and unsay them.
Although Kim Kardashian hasn't been with the president as far as we know.
I am an extreme womanizer.
And wasn't married to a Major League Baseball player. She was married to a Major League
Where did you
artist,
go,
though.
Joe DiMaggio? Our nation turns its lonely eyes to you. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Welcome to the Fight Club. A little bit earlier today because we get knocked down, but we get up again. You're never going to keep us down. And you know what? Bring it, Danny boy. That's all I'm saying. Bring it, Danny boy. So many things to get to, but let us start in UFC. Nick Diaz wants out of his contract, and he's been on social media asking Dana, let me out of my contract, because Nick Diaz wants to get paid. And how would he get paid, Rob? There's a certain way to get paid.
Jake Paul.
By fighting Jake Paul.
I was kidding. Is that why?
That's why. And here's what Dana said. Dana said he's only won one of his last 5 fights. It might be a good move for him to fight Nick Diaz. So
you understand how bad of a job you've done when you put me on the same team as Dana White.
Yeah, well.
It takes work to get me on the same team as Dana White.
But here's the thing. This might be what you've wanted. Nick Diaz, do you think he's a I'm going to take a dive kind of guy? Because I do not. I think he will agree to something and just go in and beat the mess out of Jake Paul. That's what I think will happen, to the point where they'll try to confiscate any video showing what happened. That's what I think will happen.
You ever heard of the what is it, the Streisand effect? You ever heard the Streisand effect? There was a basically it happened to Beyonce because at some point, like, Barbra Streisand wanted some video off the internet, and she, like, her publicist basically started trying to sue outlets for putting up the picture. And then when the internet found out that Barbara wanted those pictures gone, everybody started posting the picture.
Of course, yeah.
Happened to Beyonce too. There was a picture of her from a performance, and she's got the world's biggest derp face going on, like, and it was just really, really bad. And her publicist started suing outlets to take the pictures down, and then, like, people on Twitter started changing their profile picture to be it, whatever. That's what would happen if Jake Paul gets knocked out. Just everybody would be sharing it. That being said, I don't know who the first guy to take Jake's $1 million offer or $5 or $10 million offer, whatever it is to fight him with the knockout clause in it is going to be. Because at this point, I am convinced the no knockout clause exists. But somebody one day is going to go, you got pranked, bro. KO Jake Paul and go, I don't need the money, dog. I don't need it. I'm rich already.
And I just got to say, Nick Diaz may have blown through all his money, so he may not be the guy. But if someone's crazy enough to do it, that's who it would be. Speaking of his next fight, that won't be his next fight. Jake Paul is going to fight Tommy Fury on August 6th. You buying it?
No. Fight Tyson Fury and I'll buy it. Fight the real one and I'll buy it. Right? Like, come on, man. I don't get it. I just don't get it. And again, I do get it. The guy's built up a legacy as an entertainer, and this is entertaining. Fight a boxer.
I might need a
shut up.
translator for that last, 10 or 15 seconds
It's
right there.
sarcasm for screw that guy.
Okay. All right. Should I apologize for starting out with Jake Paul? No, because I thought this was good news for you. Because Nick Diaz, he don't care. And he will destroy Jake Paul.
I wish that were true. I wish that were true.
So you don't believe it?
No,
Okay.
not at all. I will believe that somebody says bleep the no knockout clause when I see Jake Paul go to sleep. I'll be like, okay, that guy did it, right? Like that guy was the guy that was like, screw your money, I don't need it. But until I see it, I don't believe it. Everybody who steps into the room with Jake Paul is doing it to get paid.
All right, we're going to get into some AEW stuff, but before we do, if not Brock, then who, Rob? So Brock comes out at the end of SmackDown last week. Who? I mean, who? Exactly. Who is going to take Roman down and it be realistic and as realistic as it can be in professional wrestling?
Seth. Why not Seth? Why not have an ex-Shield brother, a guy who knows Roman better than anybody else in the game, but have him get help to do it, right? Like, the Usos are involved. Why not have Seth create another stable underneath him? It gives you the opportunity to boost some people. Why not give Finn another run? He's got a stable now. Finn Balor never got his chance to come back and show that he could put on a show with the belt. I could spin the roster of SmackDown characters and write a reasonable story as to why somebody finally took down Roman. And listen, I'm fine with Roman continuing the run. I'm fine with Roman continuing to curb stomp everybody. I just don't need Brock v. Roman Volume 12 at this point, my man.
By the way, I haven't looked it up, but I would guess that Roman has wrestled Seth just as many times as he has Brock.
Right, but he has not done it at the highest level in how long, right? How long has it been? The last time that these two got together, it was that in a way that was like consequential was what? 33? WrestleMania 33, the one where Seth cashed in during a Brock Roman fight? I'm looking down the SmackDown roster right now, and you're asking me who. McIntyre is a candidate. I know he's not back yet, but tell me you don't want to see a Big E run when he comes back healthy. I would say having N or both Usos turn on Roman would be fantastic.
Well, that's how stables go down.
Sure, of course.
Yeah, that's how evil turns on itself. So that will happen eventually.
How about I don't know.
Now he's struggling.
No, I'm thinking Sheamus.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, Sheamus has been champ a million times, but why not? I'm down. How about another Kofi run? How about Xavier getting advice from the right hand of the king, Kofi, who's been there already before, right? There's a million different things. I just don't. You have it's come down to Vince has created Roman, who's only beatable by Brock, which is fine, except for he just beat Brock like 3 days ago. I saw it.
All right.
I watched it.
All right. One more thing in WWE, then we're going to AEW. It was reported yesterday by several sources. Triple H has returned to NXT and has said, "I'm back."
Fist pumps all around. Fist pumps. God, I hope so. I hope so. I hope so. Because.
And the talent is very happy about it, supposedly.
I am Mana. Make NXT great again. All right? Make NXT great again. What would that be? Manga? That's a different thing.
Yeah, it's a totally different thing.
Make NXT great again. Triple H made the black and gold great. When Triple H basically got Vinced, and they're like, yeah, we know you have like black and gold and skulls and a really unique individual. You know what would be cooler than that? Watercolor splotches. Dude, like, I'm not even talking about, just look at the logo. Watercolor.
All right, I can't.
Triple H NXT back.
I can't say anything because of what I'm wearing today. So, I mean,
You're missing the point. I'm all down for loud and color.
Okay.
But NXT was a developmental brand that stood on its own and, in my opinion, was better than Raw for like a long time when Triple H was at the helm. And then Vince showed up, and he's like, yeah, no, that's not working for me, even though it's working for literally everybody else. H coming back and taking over makes NXT, if he is indeed taking over creative control of that show as executive producer again, brings NXT back. It sucks that it happened after you lost Steven Regal. It sucks that it happens after you lost Joe and all these other guys that made that show great. It's part of the reason Ciampa's on SmackDown at this point, I think, is because he's like, NXT sucks now. If I might as well go main roster and get paid, right? Because remember, for a long time, he said, I never want to leave NXT. This is my show. I will be the main boss forever. If H comes back and brings it back to being what it was under Black and Gold, NXT will be watchable again, and I'll be there for it.
Well, we'll see. Ratings have been down quite a bit on NXT. They've also been down quite a bit for AEW the last couple of weeks. And so my question is it because of what's about to happen Sunday? And I mentioned this before. Is this Forbidden Door? Are you bringing in a bunch of names that you don't know? Or is this because, whether I like them or not, CM Punk isn't there, some other big names are not there, and maybe that's causing ratings to go down?
Oh, listen, that doesn't help, right? Danielson's gone, Omega's gone, Punk is gone. I mean, you're missing your big names. No doubt you're taking bullets from the gun. But here's the thing. Acquired taste, right? You heard that expression, acquired taste. If I'm trying to get somebody to, for instance, start drinking IPAs, as long as I don't drink, but those of you that drink beer know the description I'm going for here. If I'm trying to get somebody to like IPAs, you know what I don't do? I don't go find the strongest, most bitter, most hoppy IPA in the game. I go find an IPA that's barely an IPA, and I give you a taste of it. And then the next one is just slightly more, but still barely not. And we keep working up till you have acquired the taste for the thing. I think AEW has one problem with Tony Khan and one alone. And the problem is Tony Khan has kind of a Vince complex in that, well, I'm a fan of all this wrestling, and therefore all wrestling fans should be a fan of all this wrestling. So instead of starting to introduce New Japan and indie guys, slowly trickle them in, and Will Ospreay shows up for a couple of weeks in a row, and we learn Will Ospreay. And then
Ospreay's really good, by the way.
Ospreay's amazing.
He is as advertised.
Absolutely. But then he starts to bring in his United guys one at a time, right? Trickle those guys in so that they become mainstays instead of going, we're just going to blitz this entire organization in, right? Mox going up against Tanahashi is fine. I'm all in for that. But I'll be real. I don't know who the hell Tanahashi is. I don't know his story, his history, his legacy. When they started calling him Ace, to me, I just thought it was his nickname. But in New Japan, being the ace of the company is like being the Hogan, the Flair. It means you are the face of that company. I didn't know that, right? And if you're just tuning in for AEW, you don't know that about New Japan either.
I gotta say, he did Mox did a promo last night when he talked about being the ace.
Fantastic.
I didn't know what that meant till just this moment when you mentioned it.
Being the ace means you're the face. You're the John Cena. You're the Roman Reigns of that company. There's an unofficial official title that comes with it. And so for Mox to beat the ace of that company or to lose to him, whatever's going to happen, is like a career moment for a guy like Mox. But again, if you're not invested in New Japan and international wrestling, that doesn't do anything for you. He's just wrestling some Japanese guy from another promotion, right? Because instead of trickling it out, Forbidden Door should be in December. And it should be trickle introducing these guys one at a time until they're ingrained in the roster. And then you have this. But like Ospreay v. Who's Ospreay got? Who is it? I think Orange, right? Orange Cassidy?
Yeah.
That's got the potential to be amazing. But if you don't know Will Ospreay, it's just Orange fighting some dude you never heard of before. Should have been more of a longer introduction as opposed to 2 months of a full-on blitzkrieg of New Japan followed by a show.
All right, so we don't have time to get into the whole card, but I got two more things because we have a guest coming up. One is Bryan Danielson last night talked about how he's not going to be cleared for this week. He's not going to be cleared for Blood and Guts, which happens Wednesday. But he has found the most technical wrestler in the world to take his place in the match. Is it Kenny Omega?
It's got to be, right?
Because the rumors are out there. and they're acting like it's going to be a debut.
Yeah.
I think it's Kenny Omega.
I'll give it. I say it is for a couple of reasons, unless it turns out to be a swerve. But I say it is for a couple of reasons. Number one, Kenny Omega is a technical wrestler and maybe one of the best in the world. Right. Number two, it makes sense. Although I did love DB's line of, you guys did see I came out the bad guy tunnel,
Yes,
right?
yes,
that was
that was
so
great.
good. Him being unwilling to reveal that makes me think it's Omega, right? Because if it's a big debut, that's a great moment. The crowd is hot. Daniel Bryan's worked him into a frenzy. You bring out a debut guy who's got some attachment to him,
But you're also,
and it's blazing hot.
but if you bring out Omega, because I believe the numbers are going to be bigger in Japan than they are here because of
100%.
what we're talking about.
100%.
Omega is still big time star in Japan.
Sure, he's a big-time star in Japan. And by the way, Daniel Bryan's a big star in Japan, too.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys that have done the back and forth are as well. And, of course, you got to keep in mind, New Japan is the AEW of Japan. I mean, it's the flip. It's the reverse for them. In fact, don't be surprised if we do another Forbidden Door next year, but it's live from the Tokyo Dome, which I would expect is going to happen. But the fact that DB had that crowd white hot for a debut, and then he went, I came out the bad guy tunnel, I'm not going to tell you who it is, leads me to believe there's a reason, and a returning Omega will get a massive pop as opposed to an indie guy with reputation, but one we already know who it is.
All right, last thing, Christian Cage, did he go too far? And are they trying to use Christian Cage as MJF since MJF isn't there?
Did he go too far? No, I thought it was spectacular. As long as, and this is where it comes down to wrestlers, right?
Your dad is dead,
Yeah.
and if he wasn't, he'd be disappointed in you.
Absolutely. That's amazing. If Jungle Boy's cool with that line, I don't care if you are or not, right? Like this is a grown-up wrestling show, except for that one kid on camera saying "shut the bleep up," which was hilarious.
No, it wasn't. It's poor parenting, but you know.
Hilarious. I didn't say it was good. I said it was funny. There's a difference. I got a problem with it. If Jungle Boy is fine with his pops being used, right? Like I lost my dad, and it turns out people have made jokes to me about dead family members, and I'm like, all right, that's pretty funny, right? Like if Jungle Boy is cool with it, then I'm cool with it. That's fine. Now, if it was unscripted and he gets some real life heat from Jungle Boy, sure, it's a problem. But Christian Cage is too much of
The
a pro
fact
for
that he was going at his mom the week before makes me think that it's all
they signed off. They're all good with it. Is he trying to be MJF? No. Nobody should try to be MJF because nobody can be MJF but MJF. That being said, kind of ready for MJF to come back now.
Yeah,
I
me too.
kind of am ready for him to come back now.
Hey, maybe he's the best technical wrestler that
Wouldn't that be amazing?
that would be great.
Daniel Bryan and MJF teaming up would be my favorite tag team of all time. It would replace Team Hell No, in my opinion.
All right, that's all the time we have for this segment because
Jake Keegan of the Greenville Triumph is going to join us in the next segment. The Triumph back home this Saturday night. We're going to talk about that match as well as what's been happening lately for the green, white, and blue. I got that next on the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate. I'm going to hit the head, but he is calling us.
okay. We'll find out. All right, I looked at both of your promos. Neither of them had restrictions on Thursday. Today is Thursday. The one had a restriction on Wednesday.
Then I blew it putting them in. Bummer. That's on me. My bad. Sorry about that.
Way to go, Rob.
Yeah, I know.
You're the only one who's ever made that mistake.
That's why we don't win awards.
Ever in the history of ever.
That's why we don't win awards.
Words cannot describe my disappointment in you right now.
Trust me. I've had that feeling for about 12 hours now.
Gotta let it go, dude.
No, it genuinely will serve as motivation. I just got to get there, you know?
It's fresh.
Yeah.
I you know.
About 2 weeks from now, I'm going to be like, I'm good. I'm coming with heat.
Hey, my decade-long streak is over. So, I mean, you know, am I done? Am I washed up? Am I finished? Have I been passed by? Are the kids better than me now? The answer is no, they're not. They are not. They're getting there, but they're not.
They're getting there.
My protege
Look.
could go toe-to-toe with me right now in some things, but not in all things.
I know I'm not washed. I know we're still good. But
Rob Brown Show. Hello. Hey, hang on. We've got about a minute and a half left in the break, and then Rob will be right with you. We already got a great jump start on next year, too, anyway. So
you got a segment already?
remember, we were already talking about some of the stuff that
yeah.
we were going, but we couldn't use because of date. So I already have some stuff saved up. Yes. But is my formula no longer effective? I don't know. I could go the way of self-doubt. Because, you know, if it was a straight-up trios match between us and the other two guys, or two shows, we're winning that thing in record time. So,
Oh, I told you.
record time.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. This is the Fan Upstate. Rob Brown, Lonzo with you this afternoon, joining us now on the phone line, and we are very glad to have him along. I'm pretty sure this is the debut for number 9 for your Greenville Triumph. Playing forward, he is Jake Keegan, joining us here on the show. Jake, welcome in, big dog. How we doing, pal?
Rob, thank you so much for having me. Thanks so much for all you do covering the team as well.
Yeah, man, absolutely. My pleasure. I appreciate that. And we're glad to do it primarily because you guys have been so good, not just on the pitch, but off of it for Greenville. And, you know, I love asking you and the boys, especially when I get you guys on for your debut. You have played in Greenville a couple of years. Obviously, you've spent some time playing in USL League One away from Greenville as well. Now that you've made your return, talk to me a little bit about what it is like both to be a member of the Triumph in the community and what the community support is like for the Triumph from this area compared to other places you've been?
I mean, first off, hands down, best fan base in League One. I know I've only had two to compare it to, but I mean, the way the community treats the players, how involved they are in the team's success, but now also not in an overbearing way, and they trust us to do the business as we've been able to do on a fair few number of occasions. But it's also great, really, for me as a player. I mean, the adults and they enjoy the game, they have fun, but it's really about all the kids, and the kids look up to us as if we're like a Ronaldo or we're a Messi, and like obviously that's not even close to be. It's not even close to being the case. But they really don't know the difference, and that's the fun part. You go out on a Saturday night, and then after the games, the kids are there waiting for autographs, waiting for pictures, and the look they have in their eyes, and they get inspired a little bit by what they're seeing. And it doesn't necessarily matter how the quality of play on the pitch. Maybe doesn't compare to a Champions League game, but for them, that's what it is. And for me, that's the best part of it.
I love it. Jay Keegan plays forward for the Greenville Triumph, joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. And obviously, we have seen the rise of the Greenville Liberty this year in the USLW League team, who are absolutely dominating their competition right now. You've traveled around. You've been in some different places. Can you describe the soccer culture from a player, from somebody who's on the inside of it? What is the soccer culture like here in the Upstate compared to other places? I've been telling people for years, I think this place has everything it needs to become a soccer bastion, like a Portland, like an Austin, like a Columbus. From somebody who's playing the game in the area, do you feel the same way? Is this place, what is the soccer culture like here for you?
I think as the city continues to grow, just the numbers of people supporting the teams will continue to grow as well. I mean, before I even came here, I remember I saw a stat. It was like a national team viewership, and it was different regions around the country. And in the top 10 was, I mean, again, it was probably like a Portland, it was a Columbus, and then it was a Greenville, South Carolina. And for considering how small Greenville is on a relative scale, it's very impressive the amount of people just that are paying attention, whether it's to national team, whether it's MLS games, whether it's our games, whether it's the Liberty games. And it's something that we can continue to grow on as hopefully we get better infrastructure. Hopefully the teams continue to do well. And it's just something that we now have the partnership with CISA, the big youth club in the area. And you can really see the steps being taken by the ownership, by the front office, by the coaches and the players to really try to continue to build this. And it's going to be a process. These things don't happen overnight. But it's awesome just now that I've been a part of it. This is my third season. And it's really awesome to see the growth and how far we've taken it in a short period of time.
Love to hear it. We're talking to Jake Keegan, plays forward for the Greenville Triumph. They are back home this Saturday evening, but before we get there, let's talk a little bit about what you guys have had going on lately. Couple of roadies, including a big 2-0 win over Union Omaha, who has kind of become the de facto rivalry, if you will. I know the Reedy River Riot trade that title belt back and forth with their supporters base when you guys get the dub. But it's been a handful of away games in a row, and you guys seem to have clicked. It was a bit slower to the start of the season than I think that John Harkes would have wanted, but you guys are finding your rhythm. Talk to me a little bit about building that chemistry and finding that pace of play that you guys want to set as the season progresses.
Yeah, I think in the beginning of the season, there were a lot of factors that go into it, and it's always tough at the beginning of the season to kind of, especially when you have a lot of new players. And I think we had some injuries. We were kind of focusing a bit on the Open Cup, and yeah, it maybe started things a little slower than we would have liked, but at the same time, it allowed us really good opportunities to reflect on the things we need to work on, how we need to improve, and I think we've taken a lot of those steps, but there's still a long way to go. Obviously, we're only, I guess, a third of the way through the season, just about. So there'll be a lot of twists and turns. But yeah, I think the main thing is just when we have everybody healthy, when we have everybody playing well, we believe we're just as good as anyone in the league. And so that's the main thing. We just have to focus on ourselves. And yeah, Omaha and a few other teams around the league are big rivals of ours. We've got the belt hanging on our whiteboard right now in the locker room. So it's a good little thing to pass along. But it's really we understand that it's about ourselves. It's about our own performances, and from that point on, if we do our own job, everything will take care of itself.
And looking up and down the table, you guys are getting set to take on Northern Colorado Hailstorm this Saturday. But Greenville has gone from towards the bottom of the table all the way to the top, now back down to fourth. But that is a little bit misleading. It is a three-way tie for second, third, and fourth on the table as far as points go. The goal differential for Chattanooga is what has them in second. That comes by way of a 7-1 victory over Charlotte Independence a couple of nights ago. When you see that, and you know that Chattanooga finds themselves in an advantageous position because of one game that Charlotte just didn't show up, do you guys kind of look ahead at those types of matches? How does that impact the way that you guys approach games? Or is it kind of the attitude of, we can't control what happens on the table, we just got to go win?
I think that's exactly it, Rob. You hit the nail on the head. I don't have to say anything else. But no, like I've said, it's about ourselves and it's about the next game. So I know we don't play Chattanooga. Maybe next month or maybe it's in August. I'm not sure when the next time we played them. But we've played them twice already. We've gotten 2 good results against them. But it's not something we're like, oh no, Chattanooga won 7-1. No, that's not our thought process at all. We're focused on Northern Colorado, who did have a very good result yesterday. They beat Fuego 4-1. I mean, so that's a great result for them. But we also feel like we'll be definitely better organized defensively to cut out some of their more dangerous counterattacking moves, and we're confident that we can have a success, especially at home against them.
We are taking on Northern Colorado this weekend. This is a team that sits second to last on that same table, but only 4 points behind, a big 3 on the table if they were able to come down. When it gets to the Triumph getting back to legacy early, playing in front of a friendly supporter section and defending the house, how does that impact you guys? Whether it is we don't have to worry about the travel, whether it is it's a pitch we're more familiar with, what is the best part after a long road stretch about getting back to the house to play a match as big as this one could be?
I'd say it's a bit of everything. But as an older player, I would say honestly the biggest thing is the travel. I mean, it wears on your body, especially the flights that we take. We have layovers, we have bus trips, we have all of it. So especially when you're traveling the day before the game, that can definitely wear on you. But it's always nice to play in front of family, friends, and particularly the Riot guys down there. They do an excellent job making it a very tough atmosphere to play, in particular for the opposing goalkeepers. They always seem to have some fun with them.
Without a doubt, Jake Keegan plays forward for the Greenville Triumph. They will be back in action this Saturday taking on Northern Colorado. Legacy Early College, that's going to be at 7 p.m. on Saturday. Jake, a question more before we let you go, because I know there's a lot going on. You are not originally a South Carolina native, so I have to ask this question of everybody that you play with and everybody that comes on the show. If you go to a restaurant and you order a hot dog, you just say, I'd like a hot dog, what do you expect to come on that hot dog, Jake Keegan?
Like my condiments, you mean?
Just what do you, if you ask for a hot dog, what do you expect to be on the plate when it is brought back to you?
Well, first off, I'm never ordering a hot dog. I don't like hot dogs very much. I think they're kind of gross. I'm ordering a hamburger. But if I had to order a hot dog, I would say there'd be a bun. I would say there would be some pickles, and then on the side there would be probably mustard and ketchup, and that's pretty much it.
There you go. Traditional.
Maybe some relish.
See, in South Carolina, Jake Keegan, I have been informed since I moved here. I'm not a native either. I've been here 2.5 years, and I have been informed that if you just order a hot dog in South Carolina, that hot dog comes with chili and mustard and onions, and that is a default hot dog in the state of South Carolina. That blew me away.
Honestly, the chili might make me like the hot dog more. So that might not be the worst thing for me. Clearly I haven't ordered one in South Carolina, but I might be on board with this.
Jake Keegan plays forward for the Greenville Triumph and noted hamburger guy, just in case he shows up at your pool party this summer. Jake, my man, I appreciate it, big dog. Good luck to you boys on Saturday. We'll take another 3 points. We will see you from Section 110, my guy.
All right. Thank you so much for having me, Rob.
Anytime. That is Jake Keegan. You can follow him on social media at Jake_Keegan. Great follow on Twitter. And we will see him and the rest of the Green this Saturday, 7 p.m. as they take on Northern Colorado at the House Legacy Early College. Come see me. I'll be there playing a little snare drum up in section 110.
I think you need to start prefacing the question with "This is not a trick question," because I think there's a lot of overthinking going on. Like,
there really is.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
how do I answer this?
It's a weird question to get asked in a sports interview. It's a weird question to get asked as the last question, right?
Yeah.
Like ordinarily, last question is where you pop something for comedy's sake, or if you're a jerk, to make your subject look bad on the way out the door, which I would obviously never do. But the problem is, by saying this is not a trick question, it kind of sets the table that there's something weird coming. I don't know. I don't know how to best preface that question. I do appreciate Jake Keegan going straight into, hell no, I'm a hamburger guy. I'm a hamburger guy.
Because hot dogs are for poor people. He didn't say that. I said that.
Like a good hot dog. You know what I like better than a hot dog? A chili dog,
You know
which
what-
is different.
You know what I like better than both of those? Just
hamburger.
just about anything, but especially a hamburger. Yes.
Thanks to Jake Keegan. Thanks to Doug Irwin and Chris Lewis for all that they do to help us continue to work with the Triumph, which we will continue to do. We'll have somebody else on next week. It may be Harksey, it may be a player. We'll see. Also, next Monday, we'll be joined again. Hopefully, I'm working on it. Hey, Doug, if you're listening still, I would like to get Coach Carlson on next Monday. We'll get Julie Carlson, head coach of the Greenville Liberty, on. The Liberty right now, absolutely dominating USLW League. I mean, they are good, y'all. If you have not been out for a Greenville Liberty game, you're missing out. That is good football. Let's take a break. Come back. Got a few more short segments I want to hit before we call it a day with Twitter trending topics. It's Rob. It's Lonzo. It's you. It's the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate.
We were eating some leftovers the other day, and there were leftover brats and leftover hot dogs. Of course, I went for the brats, and Lisa's like, "Do you want any hot dogs?" And I said, "No, that's for poor people."
I don't get, like, why do you feel that way? A good grilled hot dog is a delicacy.
And she she agrees with you. So do most people who are poor people.
Correct.
I don't know if you know this about me, but I have a tendency to troll, and if I find something that bothers people, I'm probably going to do it more often. And since I think the food of South Carolina would be considered the hot dog, when we moved here, I couldn't believe every gas station sold hot dogs. I'd never seen that before in my entire life. And all I could think of is, why would people buy a hot dog from a gas station, and why the demand for hot dogs? What's going on here? It's weird.
When I was with the boys in the band, there were two bars that we used to play. That there was not so my in Florida, my post show dinner, because we wouldn't get done with shows until 2, and on Saturday nights we wouldn't get packed and out of the bar until 3 o'clock, 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. So my post-show was always Whataburger, which you guys don't have here, which is depressing. Love Whataburger. Whataburger is so good that when I go back home to Florida, get Whataburger is like on the checklist.
See, I'm curious, because it's one of those things that's highly praised, and you wonder, is it overrated? Is it one of those things that people say, oh, it's good because if they don't, it's against their region?
No. Whataburger's a Texas thing that has expanded. I hate Texas, all right? Whataburger's a thing that Texas got right. I love Whataburger. But there were like 2 bars that we used to play that there was not a Whataburger between the bar and going home. However, there was they're like QTs down there, but Raceway? I think they're called Raceway gas station. And the Raceway not only sold hot dogs.
Yeah, there are Raceways here.
Oh, there are Raceways here?
Yeah, like one right down the road, I believe.
The Raceway sold hot dogs and had chili and melted cheese you could put on the hot dog. So if I was at one of those 2 bars that didn't have a Whataburger on the way home, I would pop into the gas station and get a Raceway hot dog with chili and cheese on it. And every time I hated myself the next day, and I kept going back.
See, if I was out late, we would go to White Castle. So, I mean, White Castle always open, always good. Especially on Saturday nights, we'd go midnight bowling, then we'd go to White Castle afterwards. Or there's a 24/7 breakfast place there called, what was that called? It started with a T, but it wasn't a national thing. Sometimes gravy at 3:30 is not a good idea, though. But we all worked overnights at the grocery store, too, so we're used to being up. I got criticized one time because we were at White Castle, me and 2 of my buddies, and we were eating, and someone ran in screaming, saying, he just robbed us and he's coming this way. And I ate the rest of my White Castles. I mean, someone's coming out. I'm not gonna die on a full stomach. I mean, on an empty stomach. We just paid for that. I mean, I can't believe you weren't scared and you just ate. What are we gonna do? And chances are, if they ran out, my 2 buddies, I would have ate theirs too, because that would have been their fault for running out. Never asked you, how was Brookson done?
Fantastic.
Did you count cowboy hats?
I did not actually. It was a good show. Now I will say that I didn't care for the openers because they were both like young bro country guys, and I'm not a bro country guy. We caught like the last 3 songs of opener number 2, and it was exactly what I thought it was going to be.
Country rock type thing, or
like country pop. It's like
really?
Pop country. Yeah,
okay.
It's like they took all the worst parts of pop country and then injected it into country music, which I didn't love. But then I got it to look. I called Doug out. Look who's in the stream.
Yeah, no, I thought you already saw that.
I did not. Thanks, Doug. Yeah. Appreciate you, big dog. Let's see. It lives up to the hype, unlike In-N-Out. See, I've never had an In-N-Out. Never. I went to California one time, and I never got close to an In-N-Out, at least not to try it. Anyway, because Keegan distracted me. What was I telling you the story of?
Brooks and Dunn.
Brooks and Dunn. They came out, and they sounded like Brooks and Dunn. Those dudes are 70 years old.
Are they really? I knew they were old. I didn't know they were that old.
They were good. If you're not watching on the stream, you have made a grave mistake. Facebook.com/TheFanUpstate. Go to YouTube, search The Rob Brown Show, like and subscribe to that channel. And you can watch all 3 hours of the show live every single day. We're glad to have you. Love to have you. All right, couple of stories real quick. First one that's been coming out. How about this from Robert Marvey of Lakers Wire? The Lakers are expected to be in the mix to acquire the services of Kyrie Irving, and that trade could potentially happen tonight with the NBA draft just around the corner. If they decide to do that, that means that Russell Westbrook would likely be on his way out. That means that Russell Westbrook can end up playing with KD in Brooklyn. However, that may not necessarily be the case. Apparently, according to Lakers Wire, a team that has reportedly expressed some real interest in going after Russell Westbrook. How about the Charlotte Hornets? How about Charlotte making a play for Russell Westbrook? Lakers Wire is reporting that the player most mentioned that LA would likely take back in a trade for Russell Westbrook, along with the potential for some picks, would be Gordon Hayward. Why? Because Gordon Hayward is on the hook for about $30 million a year for the next 2 seasons, but all they need him for is to be a three-point shooter, right? In Charlotte, he's expected to be a guy who attacks. In Charlotte, he's expected to be a guy who creates. If he goes to LA, all they would need him for is to go average your 16 to 19 points a game and go be a 40% three-point shooter. That's it. That's all we need him for. Also, 83% from the charity stripe. So the Hornets might very well be willing to to take Russell Westbrook off the hands of the Lakers in return for Gordon Hayward. And the texter that just texted the show, my sentiments exactly. Here's what it says, Lonzo, at fan. Charlotte. No! With like a lot of capital O's and an exclamation point at the end. Yeah, don't like that. Don't like that. Russell is
You may not
the
like
guy.
it, but would you be surprised?
Honestly, no. No.
Because those are the kind of moves that seem to happen in Charlotte.
And for whatever reason, the NBA still thinks that Russell Westbrook's a good NBA player. I don't get it. I don't get it, right? But here's the problem why he doesn't fit in with Charlotte. Charlotte's building a young core. Charlotte's got a good young core. Charlotte needs a rim protector and a veteran, but not Russ. Because Russ is the dude that's going to take 80% of the shots, cut out Melo, and make the team worse off for it. No. No. Bad Hornets. Bad Charlotte. Don't do it. Don't do it. Not worth it. Don't love that at all. Here's the other bad part about the Charlotte Hornets in tonight's NBA draft. They go into tonight's NBA draft without a head coach. Now, the thought is that it's going to be Mike D'Antoni who secures his 6th head coaching position. And that's likely the best case after Kenny Atkinson screwed the Hornets by accepting the job in principle and then bailing back out. But the Hornets do not have a head coach, which means that tonight, when they go into the draft and their spot comes up and they got to make a decision, and Mike goes, who do we want? We're on the clock. He can't spin and go, hey, coach, who fits your system? Who's your guy? I don't know. That sounds bad. They have not one, but 2 first-round picks in this draft. Number 13, number 15. 2 first-round picks and do not have a head coach to guide them in the direction of the picks that he would want to fill their team. By the way, I saw an article come out earlier today. And before I even talk about it, all due respect to the guy who wrote said article. But I saw an article pop up today that said the Hornets should call Dawn Staley and get her to come coach. Dude, she literally said a week and a half ago, I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. I got work to do. I'm not ready. She may very well end up in the NBA one day. But she is not. And if she's going, keep in mind, Dawn Staley was a founding member of one of the first WNBA teams, the Charlotte Sting, which was like 2002, whatever it was. I'm sure there's a little sentimentality to her coming to coach in Charlotte, take over the Hornets, if she has NBA aspirations. But right now? Ooh, I don't know, man. I don't know. Texter says everything about this is on brand for the Hornets. Lonzo just shook his head, yeah?
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but yeah, it is.
What a chaotic franchise, man. What a chaotic franchise, right? Like, you let go of your head coach. You have an average roster age of 25. Let's see, average age on this roster is 25. That's young. It's like 3rd or 4th youngest in the league, right? Close to the. You don't have a head coach. And in fairness, not entirely on the bus. Because they thought they did in Kenny Atkinson, and Atkinson pulled the rug out from underneath them 2 days before the draft. It's not entirely on Charlotte, but also kind of. So what direction do they go tonight? I don't know. Because again, they end up in a spot where leadership is lacking on arguably the night that they need it the most. Seems not great, but maybe that's just me. All right, NBA draft tonight. I'll break that down for you tomorrow. We'll take a look at what the picks are. Who does Charlotte end up with and more? All that on tomorrow's show. Before we get there, this. He said, optimistically waiting for 15 more seconds. Because Lonzo...
And now, the Rob Brown Show presents Twitter Trending Topics.
Never mind.
If you were watching on the stream, you know I did that on purpose. Anyway, I felt defiant at the end of the show.
You?
Yeah, I know. I didn't want to conform to your rules, Rob Brown.
No.
All right, time for Twitter Trending Topics, where I tell Rob what's trending on the internet, and he would tell everybody what I'm making.
What?
Exactly. All right, the first thing that's trending is Ewan McGregor.
Did you watch it last night?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I did.
Told you. That's as good of a Star Wars thing as has happened in a while.
That might be like the best thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you have not watched the last episode of Kenobi, I don't know what to tell you. Except quit whatever you're doing right now, work included, and go stream it. Tell your boss you're out for lunch, go sit in the front seat of your car, pull up Disney Plus on your phone, and watch it. It's that good, dude. It is that good.
It's pretty amazing. It's jaw dropping.
It's spectacular.
It was. It was well done.
It's spectacular. By the way, let me answer this text real quick because this is going to aggravate me if I don't. Texture says, I myself do not understand why Dawn Staley would. I myself do not understand why she would want to be for a franchise would want curves in a male locker room. Sounds more of a headline grabber than a well thought out opportunity for me. If you are trying to say that you do not know why Dawn Staley would want to be the head coach of the Hornets, that's fair because that franchise is tumultuous right now. If you are saying that you don't understand why the Hornets would want Dawn Staley in charge of their locker room, it's because she's a good basketball coach. Because she's a good basketball coach.
She's a great basketball coach.
This is one of those times that those of you that are anti-things happen are going to be like, oh, they're just doing this because they're woke. No. They're doing it because Dawn Staley's a damn fine basketball coach who works well with young basketball talent. And while it is an experiment, anybody who tells you it is not an experiment is lying to you. But while it is an experiment, Dawn Staley has proven she can do well with young talent. I will address this further tomorrow.
All right. By the way, the reason why Ewan McGregor was trending is because he has said he would love to do another season.
I assume they were going to.
No, it's not. It was supposed to be a one-off. So, but I'm
gonna go ahead and say no. It's a season 2 now.
He and Hayden Christensen both said that they would come back. So
I also know Hayden Christensen said he would love to do a Vader spinoff after what we saw those last 2 episodes.
Yeah, we could do that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
He needs some more. He needs some more FaceTime.
See what you did there.
Thank you.
That was so good. Not just for the story that it told, but to give Hayden Christensen time to actually be on screen. Spectacular.
Yeah, don't spoil. But yeah.
I don't think. Spectacular episode. If you haven't watched the finale, go do it. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all for us. We are, for the next couple of months, still your 2022 South Carolina Broadcasters Association Sports Talk Radio Show of the Year, and we're coming for blood. Metaphorically. Jim Rome's up next. Mark Ryan and Diesel at 3. Have a great rest of your day. Don't drink and drive. For Lonzo, I'm Rob. This is the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Later, brother. Hi, Miss Lisa, and bye.